Hey guys, so that was your end of January. I hope everyone is doing great. So now, of course, at the end of the month, at the end of the week, we always want to check our weekly close and also monthly close because once again, larger time frames always dictate. Now, obviously, every day have your SPY, QQQ, the futures, and also the VIX on your chart. And we, of course, knew that President Trump announced tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico, its largest trading partners. And the market didn't like it. If we turn on this tool, we, of course, on the daily with SPY, we're seeing the sell signal. Now, let's take a deep dive to see why exactly that is. We obviously still higher highs and higher lows, but very bad volume, okay? And like I said, check your weekly, good volume, but lower highs and lower lows. You have to account for the fact that during this week, there was a lot of selling. We obviously had this huge week. Um, if you checked out our previous video from yesterday, I talked about that even though we would not likely make another higher highs on the weekly, that would mean an all-time high, which is not really likely at this point. It would still have to close above 608 for me to consider this market bullish. It didn't happen, so we need more evidence. On the monthly, we are higher highs and even higher volume than it was back in December. That is telling you on the longer term, this market is still pretty healthy. But on weekly, we are seeing some weakness because of that Monday sell off in fear of DeepSeek AI from China. But yeah, right now I'd say Spy is kind of like in the middle of nowhere. Um, it's not. It's too early to call any bear market or even some correction. But in the shorter time frame, in the near term, we're seeing this. Obviously, after making fresh new all-time high, gap down, slowly climbing back up. But just as we were about to test another new all-time high, we sold pretty significantly, right? Even close about below this 4-hour moving average. After closing the gap, we just sold heavily. That is not a good sign, even though, yes, longer term, we're still in the bull market, absolutely bullish. But near term, we are seeing some weakness. 2 hours, you can argue and say potentially this is going to be a head and shoulder. It might be, but yeah, we're still holding the low, but this is not a good close, right? We couldn't even find any buyers near the end of the session. Nobody liked what they saw and what they heard from the administration, that is. And we took a long time, and after some indecisive moves, obviously this long leg doji, this huge wick, and we finally broke up, but we couldn't sustain above that level. We just sold very heavily immediately afterwards. So yeah, not the best looking chart. Yeah, if we were able to hold 20-hour moving average, that would have been pretty nice, but this is not it. Okay, QQQ, we won't spend too much time on QQQ. Looks about the same as S&P. Weekly, you're getting this pretty much the same idea. On monthly as well, and actually lower low and lower high, even though volume on the increasing side. This is not that bullish to me. Tech is under pressure, right? Looking at this daily close, of course, was still above 20 days moving average, but can this be a new beginning of a short term top? It can be, it really can be. If you're looking at all the charts, you are seeing a lot of weakness just from one session alone. Okay, so next week we're having non-farm payroll. It's gonna matter so much. And also because if you're looking at the VIX, we obviously still higher highs and higher lows on daily and still in the green area, and BX just turned light red. That's not a very good sign for the market. Weekly, of course, higher highs and higher lows. We're holding the lows and still in the expansion. And BX Trader is also turning from deep red to light red. That's not very good near term, right? Now let's talk about some of the long short names I'm looking at this week. One of the short names is obviously MSTR. After finding support on 20 weekly moving average, it went up okay, but we could not take out the high previously what we had. And if you're looking at monthly, yeah, so even lower volume, right? So what do you know from this? We obviously couldn't even take it to the resistance at 445. We just found very large selling even before it around 403. So monthly, that's a very ugly close. Weekly, that's okay. We're still above 20 weekly moving average. And yeah, even on the decreasing volume, but BX also turned and we had a cross. This is obviously not a great looking chart. Going over to daily, rejecting 20 days moving average twice, and volume is largely higher than what it was in the previous session. You might even argue and say this is a wedge, right? We broke out, now that was a fake out. Now we're looking at potentially breaking down to test $285. And on 4 hours, yeah, that's a huge reject, right? If we can break this trend line and have another retest and fail, close out a wick with very large volume to the downside, I will probably add a put option expiring in a few months and potentially write it out until we break this $285. Okay, that's your MSTR. Still, some semi that already reported earnings can be showing some strength out of this very weird market environment. Obviously, ASML. I talked about this on the channel quite a bit. We found support on this major monthly moving average, right? Higher highs and higher lows. Higher highs, not higher lows, but very good volume. That's get my point. On weekly, of course, we talked about this even before Monday. A gap down Monday for ASML was such a gift, right? Huge support, even though lower highs and lower lows, but we have to account for the fact that that deep sea sell-off was a little bit overdone. So just looking at this volume, right? People are trying to get in above this 20 weekly moving average. More so after they reported very nice earnings in a very long time, right? Selling pressure has been decreasing, and we are about to have the cross on daily. This is looking very nice to me. On 4 hours, obviously the sell wasn't as bad as most of the other names in the S&P. Looking at QQQ and S&P, you would have already known that this 4 hours took down the support. This is still holding nice, right? We're still in the green, still having that cross on 4 hours. 1 hour, this is higher highs and higher lows. Nothing to report here. 2 hours, yeah, the selling is just not as strong as the broader market because people like certainty, and this is one of the certainties that they can, you know, uh, can really play with because we obviously just had a report on our earnings and any headwinds, it's not going to matter at least until the next earnings for ASML. So we talked about AMD, obviously very very bad. Uh, but we talked about the importance of AMD holding this 50 monthly moving average, and the volume is slightly lower than what it was before. So potentially, even though weekly closed very not very bad, but still above 20 weekly 200 weekly moving average. We want to see some reaction to AMD because after this slightly, I mean, not great, but it's not a bad close for AMD at this stage on the monthly chart. So we're hoping to see some strength coming out of AMD, and we will obviously continue to monitor AMD and notify this on the channel. Another name I wanted to talk about is Oracle. Oracle monthly, obviously not very good. Weekly, well, we did find support on 50-week moving average, and thankfully we closed out in green. On daily, yeah, this is not a very bad close. We obviously found support at this very level, right? After that dump, this is a very good close on the daily. I'm not talking about this as a huge long-term swing just because monthly didn't close the way I wanted to, but daily is absolutely very nice. If you've been looking at some other names, right, you see this wick, right? Even S&P didn't have that wick, obviously above this major moving average. So if you must go long, I would say put MS Oracle on your chart, right? During the last hour, we still found some buyers for Oracle. Someone could have known something. We don't know. Looking at the chart, it looks that way, right? 2 hours, obviously higher highs and higher lows. Uh, yeah, we're in the buy mode. Daily, we also in the buy mode, right? So this is one of the names you want to be looking at. Okay. So I was also looking at Applied Materials. I know we're yet to announce earnings, and LRCX absolutely smashed it. I think Applied Materials can have the same kind of opportunity, right? Also, very nice close on the daily, just like ASML and Oracle, of course, we just looked at. Weekly, I mean, it's not as convincing as ASML, of course, but this is not bad. And of course, the reason I'm talking about this is because higher highs and higher lows and very good volume on monthly, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if the market doesn't crash on Monday. We can open gap up on this name, right? This is higher highs and higher lows. And on daily, of course, still in the sell, so be cautious because this is not that good a close, not as good as Oracle, right? We can still see some consolidation, some indecisive moves before taking it out higher. But you have to believe that if the earnings are good, this name is gonna take out this high. Okay, and so that is it for our weekend edition. Once again, this is not any financial advice. You're trading on your own risk. I'm just providing you with what I'm seeing in the market. Please make sure you do whatever feels comfortable and always be controlling your risk. So that is your monthly update and weekly update. We will continue to monitor the names that we've been talking about. I'm not gonna do another deep dive into Snowflake. Check out our previous videos. If you want me to take another look at it, make sure you comment down below. So until then, happy trading, have a good weekend. I will see you again back on Monday. Ciao.